Hi, my name is Aaron Weaver. Welcome to Adirondack Guy. Today's video, if you haven't noticed by the title below, it's the subject of lust and love. In today's culture, we have a problem of understanding the difference between when you love something or someone or you lust for something or someone. And I think that it's very important that we should really look into this subject because if you've noticed many of my videos before, it involves a lot on sexuality in our culture and how we're confused with what we should passion for compared to what we shouldn't be passion for. So I think there's a lot of videos here on YouTube that talks about the difference between lust and love, but I'm going to give you how I think about it and how it might help you when it comes to relationships, rather in your marriage, rather with friends or other relations with other people. So first of all, I think first of all we need to understand the definition of lust, and to do that, I'm going to go look it up in the dictionary. Obviously, the best resource. And we're just going to see, what does lust mean? Well, according to most definitions in the dictionary, lust is an intense sexual desire or appetite, or it's an uncontrolled or illicit desire, sexual desire or appetite, a passion or overmastering desire or craving. It's a pleasure or delight, a desire, inclination. It's a, for instance, I lust for power. Something like that. So, as you know, throughout my past videos, I look at things as a more biblical Christian point of view. Now, not all Christians think the same, but this is where I'm coming from. And I don't think lust is just involved with sexuality. Lust is involved with anything that is something that you, how do I put it? It's a selfish emotion that affects the same emotion that you have when you love someone. And when you love someone, that is something that's unselfish. When you lust someone or something, then it is selfish. And yeah, I really should have prepared for this video, and I did. And you know how it is, you talk and then things mumble up in your brain. So I'm going to look up a resource called Wikipedia. And again, this is not a resource that is a best resource to follow, but I like what they have to say. Lust is a psychological force producing intense wanting for an object, a circumstance fulfilling the emotion. Lust can take any form, such as the lust of sexuality, money, or power. And personally, I think it can go beyond that. It can take such mundane forms as the lust for food, as distinct from the need for food. In other words, the difference between lust and love is actually very simple. Love is the desire for what you need, or it is a, how do I put it? It is a means of unselfishness to someone else or something. Lust is something that is a deep desire for what you want, and you do what you can to gain this for your own personal interest. I think that makes sense. So I think a lot of people get confused because sometimes a lot of people say, well, you can lust and love at the same time. Not really. Um, and yes, there are times that you can love someone and yet lust after them. You can love something and yet lust after them. But the problem is that usually your, what the Greeks would consider your animal nature, what us Christians call your sinful nature, most of the time when lust is involved, it can take the better of you. It can be overpowering and we cannot control it. So sometimes if you love and lust at the same time, it's best to stay away from it altogether because it'll be too tempting to fall into your lustful desires. Now a lot of people are wondering, well, wait a minute. What if I can't tell if I lust or love something? And in my personal opinion, I think that the best way to test yourself if you love or lust for something is go to the scriptures in the Christian Bible to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 47. And it's known as the love chapter. A lot of people use this chapter um, in for marriages, but really when this chapter was made, there was a lot of anger and hatred between Christians within the church. And yes, that does happen. Uh, in fact, I find it, I'd be more concerned if there wasn't a little bit of trouble within the church. I would find it a little bit too fake. But this happens often with everybody. And when Paul found out about this, he's like, okay, this is what love is. And I think this is a good way to examine yourself. And a lot of you have heard this before. I'm using this from the God's Word translation. I call it the dummy version because, like myself, we're not all totally intelligent, so we need something to read that we can easily understand. Love is patient. So the first thing that Paul talks about is that love is very patient. So the question is there a bro, or is there is your wife, or is there family relatives, a pet, whatever, and you want to have a deep relationship, or you want to train your dog or whatever, and it says, and are you patient with them? Are you willing to ignore the person's little quirks? Are you willing to, or if they have a problem in their lives that needs to be solved, are you willing to help them through it step by step and not push them, but in a patient, loving way, which is what we're talking about? Are you willing to help them? Love is kind. All right, well then what's kindness? Let's say, do you treat someone with respect and not make them feel like a fool? I think that's pretty blunt. So you're kind to them, and when you do correct them, you do so privately, not in front of people. You do it in a manner that you are concerned. Love isn't jealous. This is not just with your wives, though there is a pure jealousy. A lot of people don't understand this. There is a jealousy between a husband and wife, or between two best friends, that is pure. But that's for a whole nother chapter. This is not a pure jealousy. This is when like let's say, as a man, I'm very jealous of my wife, meaning I don't allow her to associate with other men because I'm afraid they would take advantage of her. I will not allow her to do things on her own because she might do it better than me. Or like with my best friend, I won't allow him to have other friends because I want him all to myself. He's my best friend. Stay away from him. That kind of thing. That's not good. You want people to have their space, to allow them to be themselves. And jealousy, all that does is like you're mine. You're here for me. That's lust. So no. Love doesn't sing its own praises. That's interesting. Um, are you the kind of person that's like, look at me. This is what I have done. This is how, I have accomplished this. Therefore, you should respect me or give me the credit. Love's not like that. Love is, you do something and it is great. Let's say you're the greatest person in the world, but yet you're like, you know what? I'm going to recognize others who helped get involved with this. I'm not going to put it all on me. I will not let the spotlight all on me. I want other people to get the credit, and if I get credit, well then so be it. That's okay. But I'm not here for my own personal gain. Love isn't arrogant, which means that you're humble. Again, very similar to you don't sing your own praises. You don't put yourself first. You or the person they don't they think about others first. It's very similar to sing your own praises. A lot of these are very similar, but yeah. Love isn't rude. Again, we're talking about respect. Do you respect other people's personal beings? Yes, a lot of people think that when you're married or you have a best friend, you should know everything about each other, but that's not actually the case. There's always supposed to be a little mystery, and everybody has their own personal thing about them that it's actually none of your business. But also, just being kind and all that. Very simple. And so yeah, don't be rude about anything. Don't interrupt a person when you're trying to correct them when they're talking to somebody or anything like that. Again, set them aside. Explain what they said is wrong or whatever. But always put other people first. Love doesn't think